I want to talk about the whole topic with Astralling with Cecilia Steyn again. I just had another memory come to surface, and within the first few days of knowing Cecilia Steyn, the whole Astralling topic was a very dominant and prominent one. Cecilia would astral on a daily basis. And anything and everything revolving Astralling was actually pretty normal already within the first few days of knowing her, which I know sounds extremely weird to say and to hear, but it just was that way. But now the memory that came to surface was when I had gone away on holiday with my friend. Now, this was within the first month of knowing Cecilia. My friend and I had literally gone into the middle of nowhere. It was possibly the most remote place you could find in South Africa. And I had woken up the first morning of having gone away, and Cecilia had sent me a message, and she said she's coming to visit me. Now, Cecilia did not know where we were physically, but what she meant is that she's coming to visit me as an astral. Now, that morning, my friend had decided she needed to go out quickly to go and do something. And she also didn't know anything about Cecilia Astralling. This was all very new to me. Everything revolving around Cecilia was very, very new. I was very reluctant to share anything with anybody. But my friend went out. I was lying on the one bed. There were two beds, one for me and one for my friend. And I was lying on my bed, and Cecilia was lying next to me. Now, I'll possibly touch on this topic another time about the tangibility of Cecilia's presence as an astral. I know I've already touched on it in one of my other previous audios, but the scenario goes that Cecilia was lying next to me on my bed. And after a couple of minutes, my friend comes back. And for some random reason, my friend decides to jump on my bed. And where she jumped onto was technically where Cecilia was lying. Now, in that moment, I didn't react, in an unusual way for the scenario. I did not say anything about Cecilia supposedly being there or for being there. I just acted like a general person, I suppose, would, if someone jumps on your bed. I thought it was funny. But anyway, so the day pans out, and later on, Cecilia phones me. And up until this point, I hadn't spoken to Cecilia, and I hadn't said anything to her about having astral to me that morning, nor about my friend jumping on the bed. Because to be honest, there was a lot of questions going through my mind. In all honesty, was Cecilia actually there? I know she said she was coming, but was she really there? Did this really happen? I couldn't see her. You start to question a lot of things. So I didn't say anything to Cecilia about the whole event that morning. But when she phoned me, along the discussion, actually very shortly into the discussion, Cecilia brings up the fact that when she was lying on my bed next to me, my friend so rudely jumped onto her. Now, as you can imagine, being confused and having a lot of questions by that point in my mind, my jaw dropped because Cecilia didn't know that I had been lying on my bed. She did not know that my friend had jumped onto the bed. She did not know that my friend had jumped onto the bed, technically where Cecilia would be lying down on. So, taking into account that she already knew about this, and I had not said anything, it basically solidified the whole astralling topic and the fact that Cecilia astrals to me, which I had no reason to question it. How did she know what had happened that morning? It was just me and my friend that had gone away. I hadn't said anything to her. My friend, I had no contact with Cecilia. She didn't know Cecilia, so how did Cecilia know? Other than she must have obviously astraled there because she related the whole scenario detail for detail, including what my friend was wearing that morning, or that day actually. So Yeah, the the things revolving Astralling with Cecilia were mind-boggling, and I was often left dumbstruck because she had never failed to state something inaccurately. Um, so even though all these years later, I do pose one question though. I mean, I have countless, and I mean countless. I had 4 solid years of being Cecilia's best friend, so it's basically 4 solid years of Cecilia daily astraling to me, almost daily, relating things that happen to me when I'm not with her, or things that I do while I'm not with her, never once being wrong. So when I say it felt normal, it really began, and it was normal for me. It happened so much and it was never wrong. So with Cecilia being able to astral to me, for one, I never had to question this. And two, after having left Cecilia, for some reason she could never find me, where she had never failed to find me in the past. She had never physically been to my house. She didn't even know the address of my house when I was actually friends with her. So, I mean, I could be at the shops, and Cecilia would astral to be with me at the shops. I mean, she would relate constantly to me what shops I'd gone to, what I had bought, what I was looking at. There was never a reason to, question or to doubt, that she could actually astral. Because how else, I mean, really, how else would she know? Other than if I'd obviously told her, but I mean, I tested that many times as well, and I often didn't say things because they were basically meaningless. I walked into the shop, I looked at this t-shirt, it's not something you really relate, to people. But after having left Cecilia, where she had never failed at finding me all those years while I was her friend, why did she fail in finding me afterwards? Since the day that I had left her, since the day our friendship ended, Cecilia had not once been able to find me. And that then throws in another question, which is completely contradictory to the 4 years I was her friend. Can Cecilia actually astral? I mean, how else couldn't she find me? There are numerous other theories, God's protection, or literally there's pretty much that only one theory. God obviously hid me to save me, because how can she not find me, not even for one day, for over a decade of looking for me? And so many times I was in such a close proximity to where she actually lived. There's a lot of questions in my mind regarding Astralling and Cecilia, but yeah, that's just that was one of the memories that came to light that I thought I would share. And it is mind-boggling even to me, even though I lived through it. It was first-hand bombarded into my life non-stop, and it still mind-boggles me.